So today is all about the eyes. If you are like me and some days you just want a little bit of a boost and to feel a little bit more awake, today's tutorial is going to be for you. I'm going to be sharing my tips and tricks on how to get a more awake, full, big, beautiful eye. So if that's something that interests you, let's get right into it. So just to tell you guys what we're going to be using today, I wanted to keep a little bit simple with our look just because it's really all about the technique and not necessarily about the shades. You could certainly do this with any group of colors, but to keep it a little bit more neutral and maybe less intimidating, I'm gonna go ahead and go through with the Going Coconuts palette. Sorry, this mirror is like super dirty. And also, I apologize if the audio of this video is a little off. My microphone was dead and I just figured I'd film anyway, so we're just going off the camera, but I figured this palette would be great because we have a beautiful array of shades to work with, and we'll also be using a few other products as we go along. So I'm gonna zoom you guys in and we'll get started with some of my tips. All right, so like I said, I'm really gonna be focusing the eye makeup on just getting a much more awake, open look. So to me, that's really having something that's more of like a curved oval shape rather than something that's elongated. Now personally on myself, if I'm going for something that's a little bit more glam, a little more drama, I do like a more elongated look, but because that already sort of draws your eyes out, you do run the risk of having them look a little bit smaller. So we're really gonna keep it more in a very curved, rounded eye look today. So I'm gonna start out by taking the shade Lovely Bunch, and that's just gonna be like a mid-tone color. And this is gonna be what I use to really create a little extra size to the eye because I wanna take this color above my crease, and I am just working with a matte tone right now. That already almost makes the eye just look a little bit bigger just because we have a little bit more definition. We've got a little bit of something going on in the crease, and I like to take the time to just build that color up to where I want it. And again, it should really be lower on each side and then just coming up in this nice arc. And that'll give us a really like doe-eyed, open, wide effect. And then now, just so that the final look is really blended, I'm gonna apply my lid shade right away. I'm gonna go in with Shredded, which is this matte kind of creamy shade in the palette. So first I'm actually going to pop a little bit of this on my brow bone. And then again, we'll just kind of give a little bit of lift. So just having that little bit of lightness almost like kind of gives you a little right there. So then we're going to apply that same shade all over the lid. But we're starting off fairly matte. This is really great for someone if you have a more wrinkly eyelid or your skin is just a little bit more on the mature side. This is really going to help avoid the look of any texture. So the more matte the shadows are that you use, then you just don't see any of the creases. So we're going to start out with that, and then I'm actually going to take a like a brush with no product on it and just blur that line where the two meet. Okay, so now that I have a bit of the shape mapped out and I've got my lid shade laid down, I'm going to go in with a shade that's about one shade darker than that crease shade, which really is going to be this Culotta shade. So this is the one that we used on our crease, and then I'm just going to pop in with this one that's a little bit slightly cooler. I might go down to one that's a little bit deeper, but for right now I'm just going to take that shade. And I'm going to put that in right in the hollow of my eye. And I'm actually really keeping that just in the depth of the crease. So again, this is just like giving you a little bit more definition and really just helps give some depth to the eye. Now if you'll notice, I haven't really put a lot of color at the corners here. I will just take that blending shade and bring it up most likely, but I don't want to put anything too dark because that's going to close off my eye a little bit more. So this look again is going to be perfect for, let's say you didn't get enough sleep the night before, or maybe you were out a little too late. During allergy season, my eyes get really puffy, so this also works well just to sort of have that illusion of a little bit brighter awake look. So we're really looking not to close anything off and keep everything really like big and open. And again, going through with that bare Morphe brush just to keep blending. All right, so now we're going to address the under eye. Now, if you saw my makeup mistakes videos, I talked a little bit about doing a heavy liner on your eyes, especially on the bottom. That's really something that I tell most people to avoid unless you have a really large eye to start with. That's going to close off your eye a lot more and also sort of give you a more droopy look. However, by using a little bit of a light shadow, you're really going to get a blur of any fine lines under your eyes, A, which is a bonus, but B, it's going to almost appear a little bit more large and diffused. So I'm going to take that second shade, that almost like transition shade that we put in, and very lightly dust that underneath the eye. Now once I have that done, that's when I'm going to take this pencil brush and just tap a little bit of that same shade just to connect that outer corner really cleanly, because I don't want to bring any of that shadow down too far. Okay, so now we have this really nice neutral look, and my eyes just look a little bit more wide, and also that light color on my lid is just helping pop it forward. So this is where you could choose to change up the lid color, leave it a little lighter, you could add some shimmer. That's really going to help bring that spot forward a little bit and make your eyes pop a little bit more. However, like I was mentioning, anytime that you're using a shimmer shade, you're going to see a little bit more skin texture. So I will show you a couple options from here. Now you certainly could keep this whole look very matte and go from here and just do the rest of the steps, but I want to show you two options that you can have if you were looking for something that's like semi-shimmery and then like full-on shimmer. Before I get going into the Coconuts palette, what I'm actually going to do is use this Laura Mercier Baked Radiance Matte Radiance Baked Powder. So this is actually a highlighter, and I've talked about it in videos before, but the thing that I like about this is it's really great for when you're wanting to highlight but not actually get a lot of texture on the skin. So I'm going to just use my finger with that, and I'm going to place this shade directly in the middle of the eye, like right above my iris and pupil. So if you guys can tell, that just looks a little bit brighter. It does have a very, very slight sheen to it. And I will tell you that this looks very pretty over a lot of different shades. I know we're using it over a shade that's very similar in tone, but just that little bit of luminosity really helps add a little pop. So if I pack this on, probably might not even be able to see it on my hand, but you can see that it just has that slight shimmer to it. And so that's really going to help you bring that eye forward. Now you can do the same on your inner corner. Now I've seen some people highlight their inner corner with their finger, and I don't know how people do that. It's not accurate enough for me. So I'm going to go through with another pencil brush. This is one of the Moda brushes, and I'm just going to pop a little bit of that right on that inner corner, because anywhere that you add some light and shimmer, it's going to draw the eye and really make it protrude more. So definitely have like a bigger, more awake feel. The other area that you could choose to use a little bit of this is right on the middle of the brow bone to give that extra pop. Now the only time that I wouldn't recommend putting this on your brow bone is if you have very prominent brow already, and or if it's something that like really protrudes from the side profile, because you want to make sure that you're not like making that almost look like it's coming over the eyelid, if that makes any sense. So it really just kind of depends on your eye shape, but you can already see how much of a difference that has made from side to side. This eye already just has a little bit more pop to it, but I don't think I would ever look at this and think, oh my gosh, look at that like shimmery eyeshadow. So that Laura Mercier is one of my favorites for that highlighting option, and this is a travel size, so the full size would last you forever, and it is also a great face highlighter because that's what it was made for. Okay, so now to do something with a little bit more bang on the other side, I'm going to take the Palm Reader shade, which is this like almost like a white gold shade in the Going Coconuts palette. We're going to do the same. Okay, and then I'm just going to take that pencil brush. Now, I'm a sucker for a really bright inner corner highlight, so that's just my preference, but I do think it really helps like just add a little bit to the look. Sorry if you guys start hearing the rain, it's really starting to storm here. All right, so I'm just gonna take that original pencil brush that I used to put our darker tone underneath and just blend those two things together. And that looks really good to me. So you could certainly, again, make this any set of tones and colors. You could make it a little bit darker, but of course, the darker you go, the more closed in your eye is gonna get. The other thing you could do is exchange a really light shade like this for something that still has a lot of shimmer, and that will still really help open up the lid. So something like this Cocoa Crush, but I know I used that in my last video using this palette, which I believe was my tutorial for hooded eyes. So if you guys want to see that, I'll link it here. But right now, all I'm going to do is just go ahead and spray a little setting spray just to set down all these powders, and we'll move on to the rest of the eye look. Eyeliner might be something you choose to do or not to do. A lot of times I don't even bother with it unless I'm going to do a wing for a look. But if you are looking for the most bright-eyed awake look, I would actually recommend skipping liner on your upper lid. Because what that's going to do is kind of close off that lid because you're taking a little bit of that space away. But if you're still looking for a bit more definition and a little thicker look on your lashes, I'd recommend trying tight lining. If you're not familiar with that, what that is really taking that product and pushing it into the lash line and actually that inner rim on your upper lashes. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that. You can certainly use a pencil liner, but I'm actually gonna go through with a cream liner or a gel liner. I just find that while it seems like it might be more difficult, it's actually a little bit more accurate, and you can really push that color right into your lash line. So I really enjoy this one. I'm gonna choose to use the Tarteist clay liner because I'm actually going to be working right on that inner rim. What I can do is squeeze out just the amount that I need onto this little applicator, and I can use it and then completely wipe it, sanitize it, and then it's good to go the next day. Especially when you're working so near to your eyes, it's nice to have something that can be really clean. So what we're going to do is I've squeezed out a little bit of color, and I'm using the Waterline liner, the E17 from Sigma. This is actually if you've seen like a flat liner brush, so it doesn't have a point to it like you would normally use with like an eyeliner brush. This is just flat across, and this is going to really just help us push up into that area that we need to get the liner onto. Now, if you are squeamish about eyeballs, this might be the time to look away. So I'm going to take this and really push this onto that waterline, and almost like wiggle it up into the area where my lid meets my lashes. If I can get you a little closer, I might do it just for this part. Okay, so the rain is really starting to come down now, so I'm just going to stop talking and let you guys watch.
If you've never tried tight lining, I really recommend giving it a go. It does create such a beautiful, soft, natural effect.
All right, one more thing we're gonna do is add a nude colored liner into our lower waterline. Now what this is gonna do is give us a more awake, brightened look. We used the dark color on our upper lashes to help define the lash and make it appear more thick, but this nude color on the bottom is really going to help make our eyes appear wider and more open because it almost looks like a little bit more eye space. But it's really great also if you had a long night or your allergies are making your eyes look red. It'll help give you a much more bright, awake look. So if you guys can see the difference there, this really does help add a little bit more open space to your eye. Now, I'm actually using a Tarte one that has been discontinued. Now, all I do is recommend finding a light nude shade and something in a creamier liner. So I would say to stay away from a pencil liner just because those tend to be a little bit more hard. So go with a twist up liner because the twist up is going to be a bit more creamy and a little bit more friendly to that delicate eye area. All right, now just a couple more tips. Number one is going to be curl your lashes. I think this is something that a lot of people skip out on, but it really does make such a big difference. Even if you have the longest lashes in the world, getting them curled and popping up so they're more visible is going to give you a much more bright, open, wide-eyed look. Now, I go ahead and start at the base and give that about like 10 seconds, and then I go out to the mids and then a little closer to the tips. So about 3 different areas to squeeze. When I apply my mascara, I'm going to make sure to really direct the hairs straight up rather than like fanning them out, again, more in a cat-eyed situation. So this might be something that you don't really think about when you apply your mascara, but if you tend to go sort of out, that's gonna push all your lashes this way and give you more of like a cat eye, like sexy vixen look, which can be really great. But if you really want your eyes to look super open, you want that more like doe-eyed, rounded look again. This also means that if you are a lash wearer, you want to pick a lash style that sort of mimics that. So if you really want the most open-eyed look, go with something that has either the same length hairs all over, or even ones that have slightly longer hairs towards the middle of your eye. And today I'm choosing to use the Benefit Roller Lash. Alright, so once I have the first coat on, what I like to do is go through and just tip off those middle lashes a little bit with a little bit more mascara, just to give them a little bit more focus. I can't believe I've done so much talking while I'm putting on mascara and haven't poked myself in the eye yet. I'm very impressed with myself. All right, now I am going to choose to do one little quick coat of mascara on the lower lashes. I personally have pretty long lower lashes, so I like the look of that on the bottom, but you can certainly skip lower lash mascara. I just think that having a little bit of definition looks great. All right, so one last tip. If you guys noticed, I chose to put on my setting spray for my makeup before I did my liner and mascara. And personally, I find that that really helps make sure that those things don't get damp and start to run. I tend to use a pretty long wearing mascara anyway, but I feel like anytime I can avoid getting those things moist, it's great to go. So I always do my entire face, other than my mascara especially, spray my face and then finish up. So I hope you guys have found this helpful. I'm just realizing I did not put on a lip color, so let's do that real quick. All right, I'm gonna throw on this Plumping Lips from 3CE. I got this in my K-Beauty Yes Style haul, so if you guys wanna see that, you can check it out. Okay, now I'm feeling totally put together, very fresh, very awake, ready to get the day started, even though in all reality for me it's like 6 o'clock at night right now. So I hope again that you found these tips helpful. Let me know, is there anything that you learned that you're going to try from this? Like I said, I encourage you to try it with different colors. It certainly doesn't just have to be a neutral look, but hopefully you found something that's going to help you in your morning routine. And I want to thank you guys so much for hanging out with me. If you are new to my channel, please consider subscribing and don't forget to hit the notification bell to not miss out on any future videos. Thank you guys so much, and I will see you really soon.